Hello friends, in today's video tutorial we are going to talk about Lofted bend feature in Solidworks Sheetmetal. For that, let's go to File, click on New and select the path template. Now let's select the front plane and click on Sketch, and now let's select a rectangle. So let's create a rectangle and let's define the dimensions. Let's suppose this length be 12 inches and the width be, let's suppose, 8 inches. Now click on OK. Now let's go to fillet and enter the fillet dimension to be 1 inch of radius. And now let's select the rectangle. Click on OK. So here we have the rectangle. Now let's create a gap by dividing this line vertically. For that, let's select the midpoint line and let's create a vertical line like this. Now let's select the offset entities and specify the dimension and select the line and select bi-directional. So here we have the offset ready, and now click OK. Now select the middle line and convert it into construction geometry. After this, need to select trim entities, and now let's trim these edges. Okay, and these edges. Now we need to make the sketch define again. So for that, let's go to Smart Dimension and select the corner of this line and define the edge again. So our sketch is defined now. Let's exit the sketch. So here we have sketch number 1, or you can say the first profile. Now let's create a second profile apart from this sketch. For that, let's go to Features, use Reference Geometry and select Plane. In this, select the front plane and let's create a plane which will be parallel to the front plane, and it will be at a distance of about 24 inches. So let's see, here we have the plane, but we want the plane in the bottom. So for that, let's flip the offset and click on OK. Now select this plane, click on Sketch, and let's create one more sketch. Click on Rectangle and create the rectangle from the origin like this. Let's suppose the length of the rectangle be 24 inches. The breadth, let it be 12 inches. And click on OK. Now select fillet. And the radius of the fillet will be 1 inch. And now let's select the rectangle and click on OK. So again, we need to open this sketch or to make the contour open. For that, let's create a midpoint line. So here we have the midpoint line. Again, let's make the offset. So here we have the offset. Click on OK. And now use trim entities and remove the curves which we don't need. And select this line and convert this line into construction geometry line. Okay. Now select Smart Dimensions and specify the constraints like this. So again, the sketch is defined. Now exit the sketch. Right now we have two contours or two profiles which are apart from each other, and we'll be using these two profiles to use the sheet metal feature called Lofted Bend. In the sheet metal tab, select Lofted Bend, and here you can see we have two manufacturing methods for this feature. First of all, we have bent, and second we have formed. So let's select bent, and now we need to select the profiles. So let's select the first profile and the second one. So after selecting the profiles, you can see a 3D body has been created. Okay, and now let's click on OK. So here we have the 3D body created using the two profiles. Now let's go into more discussion of this command lofted bend. Right click on lofted bend and go to edit feature. Here first of all you will see faceting options, and the first option we have is chord tolerance. So let's see what is chord tolerance all about. Chord tolerance is basically the distance between the sketch and the edge of the 3D component. So in this case you can see this distance is the tolerance, and you can define this tolerance in the section known as facet value. So here you can increase or decrease this value as per the requirement. Okay, next we have the number of bends. Okay, and as you can see in each and every bend we have number of bends. So if you will select number of bends, you can alter or modify the number of bends for your sheet metal body. So let's increase the number of bends. As you can see here, the number of bends are 4. So we have 4 bends, 1, 2, 3, 4. So every bend will have at least 4 bends. So this is how it works. Third option we have is segment length. So let's see what is segment length all about. Now in the segment length you can see we have number of bends. The length between the two bends is basically the segment length. We can increase or decrease the segment length accordingly. Next we have is the segment angle. It is basically the angle between two bends. So let's select this and now let's modify the angle. Right now the angle is 30 degrees. If you want, you can increase or decrease the angle as per the requirement. Okay, and you can see the changes appearing on the body. After modifying all the parameters as per the requirement, you can make it okay, and the sheet metal body will be created as per the requirement. If you want to get the flatten pattern for the same, you have to select the flatten in the tab and the flatten body will be created. As you can see here we have the flatten body. Right now the bend lines are not visible. If you want to make them visible, just go to the hide show items, and in the end you will see view bend lines. Check it and the bend lines will be created accordingly. So this was about creating the loft bend in Solidworks sheet metal. Now let's discuss the second method what we have in loft bend, that is formed method. For that, let's delete the loft bend right now. So right now we have these two profiles again, and now let's go back to the lofted bend. Now let's select the manufacturing method to be formed, and now let's select the profiles. So let's select the profiles, and here you have the formed lofted bend and the sheet metal body is created. Here you can modify the thickness and you can also define the direction of the thickness accordingly, and click on OK, and the body will be created. The difference between the formed and the bent is that the bends will not be visible in the formed. If you want to create the flattened part, select the flatten, and the flattened part will be created in the same manner. So accordingly this flattened pattern can be converted into DFX format and can be sent for the laser cutting machining processes to get the sheet metal job done. So let's see how lofted bend feature in Solidworks sheet metal can help us to create this sheet metal object. In this sheet metal object you can see the upper diameter is almost 2.5 inches and the bottom diameter is about 6.5 inches. The height of the object is 10 inches and the sheet thickness is about 1/4 inches. Okay, so let's start making this object in Solidworks sheet metal using the lofted bend command. For this, let's go to File, click on New, and let's select the part template. Let's select the front plane and click on Sketch. We will start with the top. So let's create the top. The diameter of the top was 2.5 inches. So let's define 2.5 inches and click on OK. Also, let's create the midpoint line. And one thing more, As you can see, the gap between the two edges is 1/8 of an inch. So let's create this gap. To create this gap, we have made this midpoint line, and let's select the offset entities and define this offset to be 1/16. Check the bidirectional and select the line. So here we have the offset entities. Now click on OK. Select the middle line and convert it into construction geometry. Now use the trim entities command to remove the curves which we not need. So we have made the trim. Now let's make the smart dimensions again to make the sketch constrained fully. Okay, so here we have the top face, and let's create one more plane which will be parallel to this particular profile. For that, let's go to features, select reference geometry, click on plane, and from here now let's select the front plane and define the offset distance to be 12 inches. So here we have the plane on the top. We need this plane at the bottom. So let's flip the offset, and here we have this plane at the bottom. Click on OK. Now select the plane, click on sketch, and let's create the base. Now let's create this circular base of diameter 6.5 inches. So 6.5 inches basically. Click on OK. Now let's select again the midpoint line. Create this midpoint line. Again, we need to create the gap between the edges. For that, let's select the offset entities. So here we have the offset distance 1/16 of an inch. Select the line, click on OK. Now select the middle line, convert this line into construction geometry, select trim entities, trim the curves which we not need, and click on OK. Now select smart dimension and select the corner and make it constrained with the construction geometry line. So again, this counter is fully defined. Now exit the sketch. So basically we have two profiles. Okay, so now let's use this feature what we learned just. Let's go to sheet metal, go to lofted bend, and here we have to select the formed as the manufacturing method. Now let's select the profiles, profile 1 and profile 2. So here we have the 3D element ready. Now let's check for the thickness. Thickness is 1/4 as was defined in the drawing, and let's check the thickness direction. So we need the direction to be inside, so it is inside. And now let's click on OK. So here the sheet metal body which was described in the drawing is ready. So now let's check for the flatten. Go to the flatten, and here the flatten is ready. So here we have the flatten. If in case we want to manufacture this object, the flatten body is ready. Let's go back. Now let's make the drawing from this part. For that, let's choose a view and let's go to file and make drawing from part, and let's save this. So after saving, let's select the drawing template and let's select the sheet. For example, let it be A1. Click on OK. So here we have the drawing sheet, and on the right we have the drawing views. So let's select the current view here and let it be top, and let the top view on the top. And also let's bring the flat pattern on this sheet. So let's cross check. Let's go to annotation, smart dimension, pick the edge and pick the edge at the bottom. So here we have the 12 inches. Now the top is 2.5 inches and the bottom is 6.5 inches. Okay, and let's check the gap between the edges. It is 0.3. If you want to convert this into the fractions, you can convert it. So it is coming out to be 1/8. That is perfect. And here we have the flat pattern. This file you can save as TFX file if in case you want to manufacture this part, if you want to use this drawing as an input for the CNC cutting processes. So now we are done with the example. This was all about the lofted bend feature in the Solidworks Sheetmetal. I hope you like this video. If you like this tutorial, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.